All right, guys, we're going to be talking about the Indus River Valley civilization. And, strangely enough, we don't talk about this one a lot because we don't hear about it. One of the reasons is because they kind of disappeared for a little bit of time, and we don't have a lot of. They were isolated for a lot of reasons, either through desert or mountainous regions. There was, strangely enough, it's from India area, and we'll talk more about it here in just a second. But the idea is that several of these civilizations kind of disappeared. Some of it was geography, not geography, but some of it was a maybe a cataclysmic event. We're really not sure. They didn't leave us a lot of script. We have the Indus script, but we've never actually been able to decipher it. And so it's kind of one of those things that we're not really a lot of sure of. Now, remember that India now is the second largest. It depends on population. It depends on how you rate it and how you count it. But China, of course, is first. India is second. And so, population wise, it's huge. But it's also a developed country that we don't hear a lot about, except for religion, because it has a bit with Hindu and Buddhism. And we'll talk more about that in our next unit as well. Okay, so here we go. Let's just go ahead. Oh, there we go. We got to get there. Ancient India and the Indus River Valley. And again, one of the reasons that India, or we talk about time or geography, is because this river right there, the Indus River, it's actually a grouping of rivers that a lot of civilizations went around. So you got the Harappan people, and then Mohenjo-daro people, and then several other groups, but these are the two main groups. It's a very unpredictable river flooding, whereas in the Mesopotamian region and Egypt, the region flooded quite regularly. They could depend on when it was going to. Of course, it's protected to the north, this area right in here, by the massive Himalayan mountains. And of course, that's region right there. Now, we think of India, obviously, right in here. But this is the area that we are actually talking about now. All right, beautiful, beautiful land, beautiful area. So archaeological excavation, we've discovered buildings in 1922. Again, as I said, writing is discovered but still not translated. And this is the Harappans or Harappans are known for carvings, quite a bit of carvings. And so you've got a little bit of the stamps that they actually use seals that they would stamp onto different things. Pretty ingenious way. Remember, a lot of these things are just being created. No one's ever heard about how to do this. So this is how they did this. All right. So the major cities, we've already talked about that. They had grid patterns. They were very well laid out, built with bricks that were of a specific size. It wasn't just haphazard. We're going to go find some stones and use our imagination to see if we could build. They actually created stones that were of the similar size and shape. This is Mohenjo-daro. Sorry, it's hard to say that. And then another image of this. A lot of this kind of cool to have a dome here, which is unique to different regions. All right, so the economy, they farm wheat, barley, melons, dates, use irrigation systems, although it was a lot tougher to figure out when it would flood as well. They also were part of the trade, especially in the Silk trade road or Silk Road, where we'll talk about that in a little bit later. But they definitely did a lot of that, of knowing where these things were. Ivory, of course, was a big part of that as well. Now, they were polytheistic, included a mother goddess, which is different than some of the other religions of the time period. They use images of sacred animals, bulls, tigers, so on and so forth. Now, this is the disappearance that I was talking about. Society ends around the 1500 BC, and we don't really know where it was. And so theory is the natural disasters and possible invasions by the Aryans. And again, not the Aryan race, but more of a culture group that did invade in other areas as well, and later on was taken over by the Persians. Okay, so the Aryans are Indo-European people. That means that they're from this area up here, migrated down. Again, this is up in the Russia, what we would consider Russia area. They migrate through the Kapar Pass, and then begins the Vedic age based on the Vedas. Okay, and that's Veda, Vedas is pronounced Veda. All right, so these are written in Sanskrit. So Sanskrit was where we could read it. Again, ancient Indian languages we can. So you can look at Sanskrit a little bit. The oldest scriptures of Hinduism include poem, prayers, Hindu gods and goddesses. If you ever watch Indiana Jones, he's got a lot to do with the Vedas. So a society is divided by occupation, right? And this is where we get to the caste system. And if you're not familiar with the caste system, we will talk more about it later. But this is the Brahmins, or the highest level. These are the priests. Kshatriyas, warriors, Vaishyas, herders, farmers, artisans, merchants, and the Sudras, which are the non-Aryans, laborers, and servants. And so these are groups that talking about that caste system. And here's the problem: was you couldn't get out of it. You could. There's talking about rebirth and reborn is a little different than your typical rebirth and reborn, but basically the idea. This is the basis for Hindu society, and nobody mixes with the one group or another. All right, you have to actually be born into another group. So it's a fascinating system that is still utilized today, although not as prevalent. Although obviously, if you are familiar with the Hindu religion, it will be something that we would definitely talk about. And we will talk more about the Hindu religion, because it is a fascinating religion that has a lot of unique history, a lot of unique gods, and the caste system definitely integrates with those ideas of the gods and who your god is based on where you are in that caste system. Pretty fascinating, and hopefully that was a good one. Again, you're going to be doing some more research. Hopefully you've already got that and picked out what you want to do, but you'll be able to utilize that throughout the rest of the next couple days to find out what you want to study about more.